Welcome to the Forensic Financialist, where we simplify business and leadership challenges and choose the road that leads to wisdom and excellence. We discuss tough issues facing business and figure out easy-to-implement solutions. Using the rearview mirror approach, we look in the rearview to move towards a brighter future. Here's your host, Jeff Newkirk.
Welcome to the Forensic Financialist, where the aim is to improve your business and help you grow both personally and professionally. I'm your host, Jeff Newkirk. Today I want to talk about how the rearview mirror approach to business assessment can also be used in other parts of your personal life. See, as I was working to develop a simplistic approach to business assessment, I wanted an approach that would be easy enough that anyone could use it. Not just CPAs or business professionals, anyone. Review, examine, adjust, revise, and realize can be applied to any facet of your life, really. I truly believe that. So while its primary intent is for business, I want to explore today how we can use this simple approach to help you with other situations, everyday situations. As a business consultant and executive coach, I am currently working with several individuals who happen to be in a transition. The pandemic has adversely affected their employer, and they were unfortunately, but hopefully in the long run, fortunately, they were put in a position where they have to find a new job. This can be devastating. If you have never been told to find a new job because your current job is being eliminated, then it's difficult really to understand the feelings and emotions that can take place. And when emotions increase, I've said this before, your ability to process information logically diminishes. Emotion high, logic low. So let's explore the situation of being in a transition situation. First, let's call it what it is. You are looking for a new job because you are unemployed. We can sugarcoat it and call it whatever you want, but that's the bottom line. The bottom line is you are without a job and you need to find a new one. Now, let's apply the rearview mirror approach to this situation. Step 1, review. Okay, let's review what searching for a new job is like because you are unemployed. I suggest the review include 3 components. Number 1, take stock in your financial situation. This will determine the urgency associated with your search. Did you receive any severance? If so, how long? How many months can you go without income and cover your current expenses without making any significant and radical changes, like selling your home or unloading other debt like perhaps a car? So you need to know where you are financially. Number 2, review your current skill set. Are you currently qualified for the positions for which you want to apply? Make sure that your skill set matches the positions for which you're applying. If there's a gap, then close it. Close it by taking classes, attending seminars, etc. We'll discuss this further in Step 2, the examination step. And Step 3, adjustment. Number 3, review your current job search skills. Meaning, are you ready to search for a position, another position? Are you ready to go through that application process? If so, great. If not, why not? This probably is the most critical of the 3 components. Okay, let's summarize now. Step 1, in the review step, you looked at your financial situation to determine your level of urgency. You assessed your skill set to make sure it matches up with the positions for which you plan to apply. And you assessed your current ability to look for a job. In Step 2, the examination step, this is where things are going to get a little bit more challenging. we need to take the three components we looked at in step 1, the review step, we need to take that a bit further. First, we reviewed your financial situation. Now we need to examine the detail. What does your bank account look like? How much debt do you have? You need to essentially look at your personal balance sheet and determine the level of urgency associated with your search. You need to know exactly how much debt you have. You need to know who you owe, how much you owe them, and when you need to pay them back, or the amount of your monthly bills. You need to know that very specifically and accurately. Okay. Second, we reviewed your current skill set. Do you feel qualified for the position you want? How do you know? What does your resume look like? Do you need to update any certifications? Examine where you are with regard to your qualifications. You want to eliminate as many risks as possible when you apply for your next job. In other words, you want to make sure there's no chance that the recruiter is going to see a flaw and eliminate you. You want to eliminate all of those risks. Okay, third, we reviewed your ability to conduct a job search. I'm going to say right up front, a job search conducted today in 2020, it's very different than it was 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, or even 2 years ago. You need to not only have a current resume, but your resume needs to be able to pass the applicant tracking system. What is the applicant tracking system, you ask? Well, it is a software application that most companies now use to conduct the initial application review. It's not even a person, it's software. Nearly 75% of all applicants get rejected by an ATS, applicant tracking system, because the application does not meet the requirements defined in the ATS. Man, does that make it challenging? Despite this incredible shortcoming of using ATS, companies continue to use it because it makes recruiting so much easier. Even though 3 out of 4 get eliminated, they continue to use it. What does this mean for you? It means you need to make sure your resume can pass an applicant tracking system. You need to be well-versed in the ATS. I suggest you test your resume with 1 or 2 different systems, and you can find those online. Just Google it. You may be surprised with the results. The ATS will indicate the type of position your resume reflects. For example, if you're an accountant and you want to apply for an accounting position, you want to make sure that the ATS shows that your resume is looking for fits an accountant. If it comes back and it shows engineering or sales, you got to change your resume. Okay. Make sure your skill set also includes social media. You need to have a professional presence on social media, especially LinkedIn. This means you need to build a professional profile, get recommendations, get endorsements, and you need to post. You need to get your name out there, and one way to get that accomplished is by posting. And make sure your posts are professional and add value to the reader. Don't post the activities of your past weekend. Rather, make sure the content you post is appropriate and it's what you would want your future employer to read. Okay, let's move on to step 3, the adjustment step. In this step, you can make the necessary changes to address any shortcoming you discovered in step 2. For example, you may need to rewrite your resume. You may need to become more educated on using LinkedIn or Facebook. In this step, you have the opportunity to improve your job search efforts by adjusting and eliminating any gaps. Another change that may be needed is to improve your qualifications. Well, take a class, update your certifications, take an online seminar. Ask for more letters of recommendation. Wherever you found gaps in the examination step, step 2, address them here in the adjustment step, step 3. This will eliminate as many risks as possible associated with your search efforts. The last step is revise and realize. Now we're using the rear view mirror approach to assess a transition situation, a job search situation. We've reviewed your current situation. We've examined the details where you might be falling short in your application. And in step 3, we address changes that should take place to improve your application and reduce risks associated with your search efforts. Now, in step 4, you need to revise your future expectations. And based on any adjustments in step 3, your application process may need to be revised. Your direction may change somewhat. That's okay. This is the step that addresses those revisions. You may have started out with an old resume, applying for positions you really weren't qualified for. And after going through the review, examination, and adjustment steps, you can now revise your search efforts. And, of course, once you land your new job, you will be realizing the positive outcomes from all the hard work that you put in. While we've been discussing the rear view mirror approach and job search efforts, I believe the rear view is appropriate assessment methodology for almost any situation. Of course, our primary purpose is business assessment. That goes without saying. But I wanted to introduce the flexibility of this approach in today's podcast. We'll talk much more about the rear view mirror approach and business assessment, but don't hesitate to use it in other situations as well. Review, examine, adjust, revise, and realize. As we use this approach more in future episodes, we'll also discuss necessary components within each step. Yes, the overall methodology is simple, but we also want to be sure that it is exhaustive, meaning that don't let anything slip through the cracks. Being thorough within each step will make the approach even more meaningful. Okay, another info-filled podcast, I hope. But before I wrap up today, I want you to keep all of the challenges we face in today's society in its proper perspective. Okay, some questions that you need to ask yourself periodically, especially when you're feeling down. Do you have a roof over your head? I suspect the answer to that question is yes. Do you have food on their table? Again, I would suspect that the answer to that question is yes. And do you have running water? Again, hopefully, the answer to that question is yes. There is so much we take for granted. It's hard to believe, but here in the United States, there are over 1.5 million people without running water or indoor plumbing. That's right, you heard that correctly. Over 1.5 million people without running water or indoor plumbing. And if you don't believe it, Google it. So, be thankful for all that you have and take that gratitude one step further. Help someone who does not have all that you have. There are plenty of ways to lend a helping hand. It's not good enough to just talk about it. You got to take action. So please do. Okay, that is a wrap for today. As always, I am grateful that you listened. My hope is that you received at least one useful nugget out of today's podcast and maybe even got a little inspired. If you have any questions or need more information, I'm always here to help. You can contact me at www.pem, that's PEMbusinessconsulting.com, or just email me at info@PEMbusinessconsulting.com, or just call me. My number is 281-591-4747. Again, thanks so much for listening. Make today better than your yesterday, and know that your tomorrow is going to be better than today. Peace, everyone.
You've been listening to the Forensic Financialist, where we simplify business and leadership challenges and choose the road that leads to wisdom and excellence. To learn more about Jeff, visit his website at understandablesolutions.com or email Jeff at jeff@understandablesolutions.com. Mentioning this podcast will get you a complimentary discovery session with Jeff. Until next time.